she asked of other cases of, or examples of sexual harassment. And so, yeah, I mentioned the jelly bean incident. I mentioned the hair pulling. I mentioned the kisses and the speaking in the ear when he's hugging you, where it's basically his lips are touching your ear. I mentioned the names, you know, like the different pet names and stuff like that I felt were a little condescending. Things like that.
Well, it appears that we have more information, new information, in regards to Monica Rial's statements during her deposition, and something that is very critical to this case involving Vic that will surely enough shake the entirety of this situation based on what was received and shown during Nick Rekieta's live stream, that I found to be very interesting, that a lot of people have pointed out in saying that Monica Rial is now a liar based on what was being presented. As again, if you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, slap a like on this video, and give this video a big thumbs up if you guys do stand with Vic Mignogna. And again, if of course you guys are not following me on Twitter, follow me at Twitter at UnrealNetwork and my main channel at UnrealNetwork. Now, do you guys remember when Monica said that as Vic was on top of her and trying to basically do things to her, that Stan came knocking on the door and saved the day? Well, I'm going to go on ahead and recap that for you and then show you something that really has some validity as to what Monica has stated that goes against her statements and the fact that she could be the biggest liar in this entire case. Now check out what she had to say versus what was posted after.
And then Vic said, "Hey, can you come by my hotel room? There's something I want to show you." And I can't recall exactly. I think it was the Full Metal Fantasy film that he had done, his fan film. And so I went to his hotel room because, like I said, I had been flirting with Raleigh all weekend, and he was dating a friend of mine named Michelle Specht. So I went with him to the hotel room. He played for me the video, and in the middle of the video, he grabbed me by the arms and he turned me around and he started kissing me. And, sorry, and I was...
It's okay.
I was raped when I was 15 years old. And so for me, it was a very difficult moment. I was frightened, I was scared, I didn't know what to do. When I was 15, I had fought back, and that didn't end well for me, so I just kind of went along with it. He kept kissing me and kind of pushed me back onto the bed and actually got on top of me, and I still have like a very visual, like a nightmare actually, that the feeling of looking at the door and thinking, how do I get out of this? Like how do I get out of there without ruining the friendship that we'd had, that we had built? And then Stan came to the door, and when Stan came to the door, he jumped up and ran to the door, and I kind of covered my face because being pale, if anything's happening, you can see it all over my face. Stan came in. He asked me as we were leaving, you know, "Are you okay?" I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine." Just kind of kept covering my face, and we went to dinner. I don't recall where we went or what was spoken about because I think I was in shock the whole time. And when we came back, he went out there. Outside of his room, there was this little patio, and he was standing on the patio, and he called Michelle.
Did you just hear that? So basically, Monica explained her story, and once the knock came on the door and it turned out to be Stan, according to Monica's testimony, Stan came in and he saved her from, well, the inevitable. But let's take a look at what Stan had to say about this entire situation.
Junior, and I reside in DeKalb County, Georgia. I am over the age of 18 years and competent to make this affidavit. I have personal knowledge of the facts stated in this affidavit, and these facts are true and correct. 2. I have read Monica Rial's response to interrogatory number 4, contained in Monica Rial's amended objections and responses to plaintiff's first interrogatories and requests for production. In cause number 141-307-474-19 in the 141st District Court of Tarrant County, Texas. The response. Excuse me. This response is attached to my affidavit as Exhibit A. 3. I was the owner of a ZumiCon in Oklahoma City in November 2007. 4. Monica Rial and Victor Mignogna were both guests at that convention. 5. I have no memory of the events described in bullet point 4 of the response. 6. If I had noticed Monica Rial being distressed leaving Victor Mignogna's room, I am certain I would remember it. 7. In subsequent years, I invited Monica Rial and Victor Mignogna back to my conventions several times. I would never have done this if I had been informed of any problems between Monica Rial and Victor Mignogna. That's it. That's it. Whoops. Whoops. Always. 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 Check your witnesses before you open your mouth. Always. Check your witnesses before you open your mouth.
Ironic, isn't it? How is it that Monica can recall a story and vividly say that Stan came in, saved the day, basically prevented Vic from doing whatever he was, quote, about to do, but according to Stan himself, he had no memory of the events described in bulletin number 4 of Monica's response, and Stan also went on to state, and I quote, "If I had noticed Monica Rial being distressed leaving Victor Mignogna's room, I am certain that I would have remembered it. In subsequent years, I invited Monica and Vic back to my conventions several times. I would have never have done this if I had been informed of any of the problems between Monica Rial and Victor Mignogna." So again, the evidence proves that Monica once again is not telling the truth in her story. Why is it that nothing seems to be adding up for Monica Rial here? She went along to post her story on Twitter, then she twisted her entire story when being deposed, and now after bringing up Stan's name, Stan is coming out and stating, "Look, I don't recall Monica Rial being distressed at all, and if I did have any information or even witnessed something weird going on, I would have stepped in to further solve the situation." So again, Monica Rial is either lying or she's really reaching and trying to paint Vic out and being the absolute worst of the worst. And this comes from Stan, which this is why a lot of people are standing with Vic, because if he was guilty, right, as an example, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein, if there was irrefutable factual evidence via photos, video, eyewitness testimony with some form of presentable, credible evidence, then yes, put him away. But being that there is no shred of evidence, and you women are taking him to court for simply hugging fans, kissing fans, and God forbid, pulling hair, then by definition, all of us who hug, kiss, and even go as far as to touch or pull hair are, by your logic, assaulters, which is complete BS. So anyone out there that has an Albanian, Moroccan, Montenegrin, Bosnian, Polish, French, anyone that has a European ethnicity who hugs and kisses people for greetings are, by your definition, monsters. And guess what? Vic Mignogna is Italian, so I'm fairly certain that being in his 50s, he grew up in a family to where you hug, you kiss, you have playful acts of that nature, so God forbid someone touches your hair. I have long hair. If someone touches my hair, or even slightly, as they put it, pulls it, I'm not going to be a damsel in distress and cry assault. So I'm going to play another clip from Nick's live stream that just happened with Ty Beard, and further talking about what Stan had to say and what Ty Beard has planned in the future.
He seems very straightforward on the rules and on the law, and you just follow it.
Right. Yeah, I think it very unlikely we will file a retaliatory anti-SLAPP motion, but anything's possible. A lot's going to depend on what they have in their motion. And apparently there's been a lot of back and forth about how these things work. It's real simple. I mean, conceptually, they file a motion to dismiss under the TCPA, the Texas Citizens Participation Act. They have to prove that this case falls under the TCPA.
Right.
We could contest that. It's unlikely that we will, because the TCPA is awfully broad, and I don't generally like to.
For the benefit of those watching at home, basically to prove your case falls under the anti-SLAPP statute, it has to pretty much impact or involve some exercise of your freedom of speech, your freedom of association, or your freedom of something else. Maybe not religion.
Association, I think.
It's speech association and something else. It's related to speech, though. Basically, if the civil charge against you, like say defamation, involves speech, then you're 99% of the way to closing off the anti-slap.
Until I see the motion, I can't be certain, but I think it highly unlikely we'll contest that. This version of the law, again, they amended the law in the last session, but we're not under the amended law. This version of the law, lawyers were even using anti-slap motions in malpractice actions against them. I mean,
right.
Because the Supreme Court of Texas interpreted, they took the legislature at their word and interpreted them very broadly. So, step one is they got to prove that this is covered by the TCPA. Let's assume that they do that. Then the burden of proof shifts to us. We have to prove what's called a prima facie case on every element.
I've heard from very reputable lawyers on the internet that burden shifting doesn't ever happen.
Really?
Yeah, apparently burden never shifts.
No, okay.
So by the end of all of this, I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below, as I am going to close this video off with a few highlight clips from Monica's deposition, just so you guys can pay attention to some of the things she said. Again, thank you all so much for watching. If you guys support Vic Mignogna, hit that subscribe button on this channel, slap a like down below if you guys do support him. Make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at UnrealNetwork and subscribe to my main channel over at UnrealNetwork. Shameless plugs, I know, but it doesn't hurt anybody in the long run. Again, you guys can also find Vic Mignogna's GoFundMe located down in the description box below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys.
Prior to 2019, were there a lot of rumors about Vic?
Yes, ma'am.
With regard to the Dragon Ball Z movie, which I understand is like the third highest grossing anime movie in U.S. history.
I know it did really well. I believe so.
Did any of the actors receive any residuals from that?
No.
Okay.
Right to work.
It was just a flat fee?
Just a flat fee. I can't speak for the others, though, but I know I didn't.
Why would you?
I might have to beat somebody up if they did. No, I'm kidding.
Did you request at any point that Brawley be recast?
No.
Did anyone else request that Brawley be recast?
To be recast after the fact?
Or during the making of the film?
No. I know that I believe that the Japanese distributor wanted to cast a different voice because they used a different voice in the Japanese.
That's a lie. I'm pretty sure that's
Were there any voice actors that were calling for Vic to be replaced?
I wouldn't know.
Has Funimation done any other investigations about Vic, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, I believe that there was one other in the past, but I only came to that knowledge through secondhand. Another voice actor from LA.
Which voice actor?
Tara Jane Sands.
Do you recall the time frame of this prior investigation?
I wouldn't know.
My memory of the event with Jamie was that I had come in to record one day at Funimation, and I was in the lobby, and she was there, and she had just changed her hair somehow. She was wearing it differently, or she had cut it somehow, probably as far away as I am from Casey. And she said, "Hey, hon," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I love your hair." And she's like, "I know, I just got it." And I walked around the counter, and I was kind of standing there, kind of flipping it, and like, "Oh my gosh, it's really beautiful. I love it." And I put my hand up in the bottom of it, and I'm like, "Oh, this is great." It was not painful. It was not hurtful. It was not sexual. And it happened at least 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. And if I may say, I saw Jamie in the lobby at Funimation in January of this year, literally a week to 10 days before this social media thing started. And she's like, "Hey, hon," and went over and hugged her and said hello. She and I have had, as far as I've known, a very casual, friendly relationship for many, many years. And I was astounded.
You kind of apologize in that letter to people you've made feel uncomfortable? I mean, was there anybody in particular you were thinking, or was it just more of a generic?
No, it was generic. It was the idea of somebody that I might have hugged for a photo that didn't say anything at the time, but of course they went home and posted about how they didn't appreciate it or something, and I apologize to those people for not being sensitive to that.
Now, were there allegations floating around after January 16, 2019 that you were a pedophile?
Well, people have been throwing that word around for,
For what?
well, just for a while.
About you?
Yes.
For how long?
I don't know.
I mean, when's the first time you can recall?
I don't recall. Like I said, there are people out there that see me hugging someone for a photo in front of 300 other people and 25 video cameras. It's purely for the photo, and they decide somehow that I'm a pedophile. There is no evidence of that. There's no proof of it. There are no charges. There are no convictions.